Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm back from my couple month break like usual. But in this video we're going to take a look at Plasma 5.20, so the beta actually, because right now we're in the beta testing phase, and this is actually a release that's pretty nice, and I'm pretty stoked to talk about it. So I've installed Google Chrome here because I'm going to showcase some things later on in the video. But the first thing I want to show you guys is the official announcement. As usual, I'm going to link this in the description below, but you can take a look at the various new features and bug fixes that they've added and improved on. So if you want to read that, it's going to be in the description. So let's see what to talk about first. Well, as you can see, the standard layout is different than usual. So here you have your icons only applications right here for the panel. Before, what it was the, the task manager. So when you would click on something, it would appear like this, kind of like a tab, and so that's been changed. Now it's more kind of like a window type look and feel. So we have that. The panel is also thicker than usual. Let's see how many pixels. It's 46 pixels. I forgot how much it was before. It could have potentially been 42, I think. I'm not quite sure. But the panel is thicker as well. And we also have some system tray changes here as well. So if you right click and click on configure system tray, you can see we have two options here for the icons. So if we enable the scale with panel height, as you can see, the system tray icons become basically as large as the application icons, which I think that for system tray icons it does look kind of big, but I guess I can see why it could be useful. So it's good to have that as an option. And another thing is, if you enable the small option and you increase the panel size, eventually you get 2 rows of the system tray icon. So that is pretty good. So let's just bump that down a little bit. So that's for the system tray icons. On top of that, I don't know if you remember, and I have an image here actually, but from Plasma 5.19, if you look at the notifications here, they're kind of in a list type of format, and if you were to click on one of these, then basically what happens is these collapse into just the icons, and then you can select whatever system tray icon you want just by clicking it. But the way it is now is it's kind of like a grid mode. And so let's click on the KDE Connect one. So it happens like this. You could go forward and back. Personally, I feel like both styles could be touched upon and improved. I just feel like the thing about this is that these icons, they're not that big, and there's a lot of space here, and it just looks pretty empty. Sure, if you have more applications installed, the more you have installed, the more icons you will have, the more filled up it will look, which is good. But as a whole, I just think that I don't know. I think that both of these styles could be improved. But another thing that you can notice is that when you click at all these type of stuff, all these icons, I mean, you get this pin here. I don't know. I don't remember if this was in 5.19. It could have been, but basically this is if you have, I believe, multiple workspaces, and if you pin it, it's going to stay open. But now something that's been actually introduced is the settings icon here, so that you can configure the system tray icons. So now if you want to configure your system tray icons, instead of just right clicking on it, you have more options for that. Also, another thing is for the battery. So I'm on a laptop right now, but I don't know which ones support it, but if yours does, it's going to have an option for you to charge up to what is it, like 80% or something like that. This is especially helpful to preserve your battery, so that's pretty good. And then it also has an option. I'm connected to a monitor right now, so it says that it's configured not to sleep when I close the lid, which is very useful as well. And it even shows the percentage here. So all this information, all these details, it's always good to see that. When it comes to the sound, I really like how, and this was added from Plasma 5.19, it has this option here to raise the maximum volume. It's so much easier than what you had to do before. But now, a new update and change that's very good is that the OSD has changed. So if you change the volume, as you can see, it's a lot less intrusive now in the screen. And I actually really like this update. I think that it looks much better. Before, it was more squarish, and let's see if I could highlight it. It took about like this much space. So I can imagine if you're trying to do something, it can get pretty intrusive. So I really like how this is smaller, takes up less space, and on top of that, it even shows you the percentage, which is very helpful. And this is especially helpful also with the brightness of the screen, because oftentimes I would wonder what percent it is, because I have a specific preference for 35%. When the audio is muted, it shows it like this. And another cool little touch, and I feel like when it comes to design, the small details really matter. And if we take a look here, once you reach over 100%, it becomes like orange. And then once you reach over 125%, it becomes red, signifying how loud the sound is. And then also, if you're trying to change your screens, it's like this. This could, in my opinion, become smaller. And also, there's empty space here. It doesn't do this when I'm on the laptop screen as opposed to the monitor, but perhaps just a minor bug. So that's really nice. Let's test out the screenshot, see if there's anything new. Let's see. Configure. I mean, there might be some new stuff, but maybe I'm missing out on that. And as we can take a look here, there's a new wallpaper. This is, I presume, the new default wallpaper for Plasma 5.20. Let me know in the comments what you guys think as opposed to the previous one, and if you just like it in general. And when we also right click on the desktop, I believe this was at the bottom, configure desktop and wallpaper. Now it's at the top. I just got so used to seeing this at the bottom that, it's just something I'll get used to, but I don't really care, to be honest. There's also an enter mode option now, and basically this just gives you a couple of options to just customize the desktop itself. And now when you look for widgets, it shows it in 3 columns as opposed to 2. So I think that's nice because there's plenty of widgets, and it's going to be easier for you to find what you're looking for now. So let's try to find something. I guess the clock, you could put it here, and then it gives you the options to adjust the size. So this is very nice if you want to customize your desktop. And when we click on edit panel, I think that the options given here, the options given here to edit it are pretty straightforward. And so now let's take a look at the settings, okay? So one touch, like I mentioned earlier with the small details, one touch that I really like with this update is that if you take a look here on the side, you'll see these lines and arrows. I think this looks much better than what it looked like before, and I remember in Plasma 5.18 I actually mentioned this when I made a video about it back in February. Basically, one thing that I think, and I also was talked about it briefly here, I think that when it comes to a lot of empty space and when everything just looks too flat, it looks too empty, it doesn't look good. And I think that adding just even something like small details, just filling this up to show you that everything is, of course, different categories, and also showing these arrows to signify that when you click on it, you have more options. Whereas when you click on Plasma Style, for example, this doesn't change. These are all the options you get. It's these small details that are really good, and I think that this is definitely a step forward. So there's also another new option, highlight change settings. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the cursor, and if I click on this, like an orange circle appears in each space where I've changed the settings, and it highlights exactly what I've changed. This is a pretty neat feature, and let's see if I change it back. Okay, so it gets removed if you change it back, but this is certainly a nice feature to show you, what you've changed, and so that you could more easily navigate to the defaults. So let's see what else there is. So another thing is in the search, if we take a look at KRunner. So when you try to activate KRunner, it appears at the top of the screen. But apparently there's a free floating window option. And if we do that, it appears instead in the middle. But I don't know if that's what they mean by free floating, or if they mean you could actually move it around, because I've tried numerous things. I've tried to hold it with the left mouse. I tried to just drag it. I tried right-clicking on it, Alt and Control and Shift, plus the left mouse separately and together. I've tried various different methods, but I just can't seem to move it around the screen. So I don't know if this is a bug, or perhaps I just don't know how to do it. But that's another option here. Now, another thing is there's something interesting here. So if we click on this icon, it takes us here, and if we click on this icon here, it gives us the option to change our avatar. I think that this layout here looks good, except there's some white space here that is unnecessary. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but if we try to apply a picture and we go back, it doesn't work. Now, I don't know if this is a bug. Actually, I don't see why it shouldn't apply. It seems like a bug. But the only way for it to work is if you apply the image from here. So let's just apply something, and then it actually shows up. So, but of course this is a beta, so you can't expect everything to work perfectly. But let's try to put my logo here, and there we go. Looks very nice. But overall, with the design patterns I've been seeing here, and let me also show the notifications, like kind of give you guys a look for the design. So you can see there's a common pattern going on. So the bottom has its blur effect, and then the top has its like header bar, and this one is opaque. And it has it here as well for the notifications, and it even has it here for the system tray. And this is something that's very nice, and I think that with more consistency, with the new design that's not as flat as before, it looks a lot better. Which, speaking of flat, if you apply the Breeze dark theme, as you can see, it reverts back to the old theme where everything was flat. and you can really see the difference between the two designs. And that's why, like I said, when something looks too empty, when there's not enough detail, when it's too flat, it doesn't look that good. And that being said, I'm not quite sure why these default Breeze themes aren't updated. It seems that only this one that follows the color scheme has been updated to the new style. But maybe there's a reasoning behind that. So what else could we take a look? So let's discard that. Oh yeah. So this is why I installed Google Chrome. I wanted to show you guys a really cool new feature, speaking of consistency, and that is when you change the window decoration, it not only applies for your Qt applications, but also for GTK applications. So I tried with Chromium, but it's a snap package, and snap packages don't really seem to respect your system settings. So if we change the GTK theme here, as you can see, it follows the theme given here. And the reason why this color is gray as opposed to light is because we have the default version applied and not the light theme. So now it respects the colors as well, although it is kind of glitched up. There we go. Sometimes you just have to restart things. Now, one thing that's interesting with this, and this is a new feature after all, so hopefully they polish it up eventually, but as you can see, the buttons here are kind of big, and it's really interesting. I don't know why this happens, but these ones seem to be oversized, but if we click on one of these ones seem to be too small, undersized. And then there's other themes. I don't know if this depends on the themes themselves. I don't know on whose end this is, but if we apply this arc theme here, as you can see, the buttons are at a normal size. So I'm not quite sure what determines that, but that's how it goes. And let's also open up Firefox and do the same thing. Let's just choose the arc theme, and as you can see, it applies very nicely. Now, here's another thing that I want to quickly take a look at, and I'm just going to put the panel at the top, get rid of the icons only task manager. I'm going to add a spacer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the global menu. In Plasma 5.19, there was a glitch that was going on, and basically what was happening was sometimes, especially for GTK applications, for example, like Google Chrome, for some reason it just wouldn't appear. And I think that this bug is still present. So I open Google Chrome, and as you can see, the global menu should appear, but I have to click on the desktop and then click on it again, and now it appears. I'm not quite sure why this bug is present, but it is. And if we do it with default KDE applications like Dolphin, it appears right away. So that's a bug, and that's just one thing, is that there, as good as these updates are, and I'm not talking bad about the update at all, but there's some bugs, and you should keep that in mind. But just because there are some bugs doesn't mean that the others aren't getting fixed, and there's a lot of bugs that have been getting fixed behind the scenes. It's just with bugs, it's kind of more difficult to showcase as opposed to new features, so do keep that in mind. And as you can see, there's like this visual glitch when you change a theme, but it goes away quickly, so let's minimize that. Okay, so this is for the whole visual design thing. One thing that's nice for Firefox though is that the global menu gets disabled. there is a bug that if you have the global menu enabled, Firefox's title bar buttons disappear if you're in the if you have this unchecked. And now it's just disabled in general, so that's good. So as you can see, with every new release and update, the theming becomes more and more cohesive between the KDE applications and GDK applications. The one complaint I guess I have is that usually features are added, but this time one feature that was taken away is that you still have this GDK theme option, but the icons are removed. And I'm not quite sure why that is, because for GDK 3 applications, it's not as big of a deal. But for GDK 2 applications such as Inkscape, unless you have the newest version which lets you use dark mode, or lets you change the icons, I believe, if you're using, let's say you're using a dark theme and you have light icons, then if you have a GDK 2 application that's only in a light theme, you can't change the icons, so the icons look kind of bad. So that's why I think that this feature, I would prefer for it to come back. And also, if you prefer for it to come back, let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. But yeah, I don't know why this was removed. Let's take a look at Kate real quick. Now, this text editor here, it also, as you can see, has new tabs, and I can't really show you how the old ones looked, but it looks definitely a lot better. And the behavior is more standard as opposed to the previous one. And then with console, it had also some updates regarding that. And another thing is when applications go in full screen, there's a nice animation here. And speaking of animations, there have been animations added just in general, which definitely makes the system feel a lot more alive. Discover, as you saw, it opened up really quickly with no visual glitches, although for some reason every time this gets fixed, it seems like after every new update it just gets broken again. And by broken, I don't mean the application doesn't work, I just mean that when it starts up, it just has this visual glitch and it takes longer than usual to load. I don't know why that happens, but yeah, I'm trying to find and think of any other updates that I could come up with at the top of my head. But I think those are the main ones, or at least the main ones that I've remembered. There's always small details that a person can forget about. But apart from this, there's also Wayland support being added. And now you can actually screencast as well. I would showcase it if I could, but I don't think I could switch sessions right now because I'm not on a virtual machine. So you're going to have to test that for yourself. I remember I tried testing it a while back, but it was it didn't seem to work. It was kind of buggy, but it should be fixed by now. And of course, when the actual final release comes, it should be definitely working, so without any problems. There's KRunner again. I can't seem to move it for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. I did get a comment a while back talking about Wayland, and I am actually excited to start using that as well. But I feel like the support's getting there, but it's still not there yet, at least for my personal use cases. So that's something definitely to look forward to and to be excited about. So yeah, when the final release gets released, I'm going to make a video about that as well. And yeah, this has been my tour of the beta just a quick look talking about the updates and what's to be expected. So let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah, that was that for this video. Thanks for watching.